Hello and welcome. You're watching UATV News with me, Ksenia Bugay. First at this hour, the latest developments. Ukraine is starting preparations for mass vaccination against COVID-19. The government expects the first deliveries in February. Officials are currently negotiating the procurement with 6 vaccine manufacturers. The Ministry of Health notes that in recent days, fewer new cases of infection have been recorded. At the same time, a large number of people are hospitalized in serious condition.
President of Ukraine Volodymyr Zelensky instructed the government to start preparation for mass vaccination. The head of state announced it during a conference call.
I know that the Ministry of Health is preparing to sign the first contracts. People should clearly know when vaccination starts, how it will take place. They should know that the state will take care of them. Vaccination is a challenge for the entire world, and everywhere in every country, governments are facing new challenges. We should think about people first.
The first batches of the coronavirus vaccine are planned to be delivered to Ukraine in February. In an interview to Ukrainian media, Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal noted that the government negotiates the vaccine's supply with 6 manufacturers.
We participate in the worldwide COVAX initiative and have also contacted all our partners to get the first vaccine shipments as soon as possible. At present, I can say that these negotiations have brought positive results. Ukraine will get the vaccine no later than February.
The main and the most effective method for detecting the infection is PCR testing. Over the past week, more than 182,000 people were tested in Ukraine. The Ministry of Health reminded that family doctors could rapidly test for COVID-19 as well. Besides, 2,373 testing points are operating across the country.
One can find all the necessary information about all those testing points in all regions of the country on the website of the Ministry of Health in the COVID-19 section. And I want to emphasize that all the tests are free.
Meanwhile, over the past day, almost 4,000 COVID-19 cases were registered in Ukraine. The number of infected remains relatively low, and the average amount of the recovered exceeds the number of infected. For instance, hospitals in the city of Dnipro are now treating 400 patients with COVID-19. At the end of 2020, this figure was 1.5 times higher. Doctors say that people often ask for help too late. A typical case is self-medication attempts.
An individual decided to use all traditional remedies he found on the internet. Everything his family and friends advised him. He was admitted to the intensive care unit in an extremely grave condition when the oxygen saturation fell below 80.
The number of infected is also declining in the Donetsk region. Over the past day, a bit more than 90 patients have been diagnosed with coronavirus, while a few days ago, more than 400 infected people were recorded in the region every day.
Almost 85% of patients recovered. This is 35,203 people.
Despite the positive trend, it is necessary to take into account the number of the hospitalized, the Ministry of Health states. The threat remains significant and cannot be ignored. After the January quarantine ends in Ukraine, the officials plan to return to the restrictions of the orange quarantine zone. Reported by Nick Starkov, Svetlana Sich, Nadia Sukharokova, Natalia Husak, UATV News.
Children's toys, clothes and shoes were sent to residents of the Stanitsa Luhanska town in eastern Ukraine by diplomats from Latvia. 5 tons of humanitarian aid would be handed over to local residents by servicemen of the National Guard of Ukraine. Early in December, the Republic of Latvia provided necessities to victims of large-scale forest fires in the Luhansk region.
Of course, we will help Ukraine with humanitarian assistance until the Ukrainian territorial integrity is restored. We invited businessmen from Luhansk region to participate in the Latvian-Ukrainian Business Forum scheduled for this year. We will strengthen our relationship in all directions. The National Guard, in cooperation with the Embassy of Latvia, sent nearly 300 tons of cargo to the Donetsk and Luhansk regions. The assistance was provided by the representatives of Latvia, Estonia, Lithuania, Finland and other countries. There are textile materials, footwear and children's toys.
The state enterprise Antonov has started manufacturing aircraft for the armed forces of Ukraine. Director General of the State Defense Concern Ukroboronprom Yuri Husev told about this in an interview to our colleagues of the Dom TV channel. Details in the following report.
The state enterprise Antonov has started production of a military transport aircraft AN-178 for the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine. 3,500 people are working upon this order.
We will not only execute this order for our country, for our Ministry of Defense, but we will meet all the deadlines. We think this is just the beginning. According to the contract, the first aircraft will be ready in the first half of 2023, the second and the third one till the end of 2023.
3 aircraft for the armed forces of Ukraine is only the first order. In December, the Ministry of Defense and the Antonov State Enterprise signed a memorandum of cooperation. The Ukроборонпром state concern is confident that this means the beginning of the period for concluding new contracts.
For the first time in the history of an independent Ukraine, 3 new Antonov 178 aircraft will be built for the armed forces of Ukraine. This is only the first stage of the ambitious program that the President instructed us to implement.
The financing agreement was signed on December 31, 2020. In addition, the company says that foreign customers are also demonstrating significant interest in the Antonov's production.
The Antonov 178 aircraft for the armed forces is already in production. Several international contracts are being executed and the enterprise as well. All the plans are now being realized.
AN-178 is a modern military transport aircraft. It is designed to deliver weapons, light military equipment and people by landing and parachuting. It can lift 18 tons of cargo and reach speeds of up to 825 kilometers per hour. It can fly over 1,200 kilometers without refueling. Reported by Nick Starkov, Artem Golub, UATV News.
The Ukrainian business has gotten almost $640 million financing after the Affordable Loans 579 support program has started working. Are the businessmen interested in cheap loans? What spheres and businesses take them the most? Our journalists have studied this issue.
Banks participating in the 579 Affordable Loans program have already lent almost 640 million of loans, the Minister of Finance reports. The program was launched last February by the initiative of President Volodymyr Zelensky to help micro and macro businesses during the coronavirus pandemic.
The 579 program foresees the opportunity for entrepreneurs to take a loan at a lower interest rate compared to regular loans provided by the banks. The usual interest rate is 10 or 12%, while the program foresees 5, 7 or 9%. This means that someone has to pay off this difference. Therefore, according to the presidential program, the state budget covers the difference for an entrepreneur who took out a loan at the commercial bank.
Over the past year, entrepreneurs have taken out more than 7,500 loans under the 579 program. According to the Entrepreneurship Development Fund, agricultural producers lend the most.
More than 55% of the loans were taken out by agricultural enterprises, 18% by trade, 16% of the total number of loans were taken out by industrialists. The service sector took out 8% of the loans, real estate development 2%. Other industries took out less than 2% of the loans.
Quarantine restrictions did not reduce the interest of the entrepreneurs in soft loans. Ukrainian bankers say only in January the Privatbank has already issued 126 loans. It's easy to take out a loan. However, there are some nuances due to which the bank would refuse the client.
The loan can be received within 20-25 business days. It all depends on the package of documents and on the approval of the fund for listing into the register. We do not provide loans to non-residents. We do not lend to clients with insufficient financial rates. We do not give credits to clients who trade arms, alcohol and tobacco.
According to the Ministry of Finance of Ukraine, the banks have not recorded cases of violation of the program, in particular in terms of delaying payments on loans or inappropriate use of funds, reported by Nick Starkov, Vlada Tsurkan, UATV News.
Up next, rescuers and warming posts. Severe frost and quarantine could not stop Ukrainian believers from celebrating Epiphany in Christian tradition. This is one of the main holidays which ends the winter holiday cycle. It's believed that this day Jesus baptized in the Jordan River. Some believe that winter water dipping this day can save from disease. How the Epiphany was celebrated in Ukraine this year, our correspondents will tell you.
From the very dawn, hundreds of believers go to the solemn church services in Ukraine's capital. They proceed to bless the water and make lengthy queues.
This water blesses us for the whole year. For health, peace and happiness, health to all and to you.
I don't feel cold as I have come here with faith. The faith keeps me warm and the state of spirit too. Kindest blessings to all. Merry holidays.
Following the service, priests observe the great blessing of waters at the water sites, which then attract believers to dip in traditional swimming custom. Due to quarantine, no special dipping spots were organized this year. However, the capital authorities took care of order and safety measures. Along the day, rescue and medical crews kept their scrutiny at the ice hole on the capital's Obolon riverside. The freezing temperature put no hitch on city residents' will to dip into icy water. Some of them believe the holy water heals up the body and draws negative away.
For me, it's no doubt a serious tradition which gives a reboot to the body. On this day, I feel like a newborn, in terms as all bad thoughts wind away and you can start everything from the scratch. I feel rather cold than scared. How is it? Very nice. How else can it be?
Several residents of Mariupol came to swim in freezing seawater. Rescuers had to patrol 8 kilometers of the Azov Sea seafront in order to be ready to help people.
This year we haven't foreseen official places for dipping due to pandemic, but you cannot prohibit sea walks. This is their decision, so we anyway watch people's safety.
Odessa residents held mass swimming in the Black Sea. Lifeguards and doctors are on duty at the city's 3 beaches till the first hour after midnight. They promised to count the number of those who observed Epiphany swimming. Last year, they counted more than 9,000 swimmers.
I go swimming every year. I feel great. I never go ill. I set an example for my children. I have 2 adult sons, grandson and daughter-in-law.
Dozens of Kherson residents came to dip into the ice hole on the city bank. Neither the medical advice nor 20 degrees below zero prevented them from swimming.
We go swimming every year. We keep a social distance. We don't hug. Finally, we swim amid frost weather the first time over the past 5 years. Usually we have over 0 temperature here.
In Kherson, 3 stations with warming tents were equipped on the bank.
Note how people observed the lockdown rules. No crowds, distances observed, no drunk. So far everything's pretty good. People come, take a small dip and leave.
Doctors say one should prepare the body long ahead of the Epiphany swimming. Moreover, according to Orthodox Church of Ukraine, winter swimming is an invented tradition, and even the icy waters doesn't take away the sins. Reported by Nick Starkov, Valery Bakus, Svetlana Sich, Anna Gorodyantseva, Nadia Sukhorokova, Yanina Lebedeva, UATV News.
That was our final story this hour. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned. More updates on our official website, YouTube and Facebook pages.